the 149-pound championship, and a great story in this one. Chris Currirer, the senior from Southern Colorado, going up against Lazaro Reinoso of Carson Newman. If you're a rabid wrestling fan, you may recognize that name. Reinoso defected from Cuba after winning the bronze medal at the '92 Olympic Games in Barcelona, and how about this? He beat John Smith, who went on to win the gold medal.
Yeah, well, the way they score freestyle bracketing was a little bit different. It's not a head-to-head bracket like you see in this tournament, where if you get beat, you're out. It's a point system that they go with in freestyle, and the way it came out, John Smith of the United States had like a half a point or 1 point more than Reinoso to win the gold medal, and Reinoso ends up dropping down to get the bronze. But very few people have beaten John Smith, I'll tell you that. Very few people in the world, and this is one of them, and we're watching him here.
He is in the blue togs, while Chris Currirer of Southern Colorado, another great name, the Thunder Wolves, he's in the red. Chris Currier's no slouch, to be sure. He's ranked second in the nation. Comes in with a record of 25-5 now as the number 2 seed and the 4-time Montana State Wrestling Champion in high school. So Chris Currirer should be a solid competition for Lazaro Reinoso, who comes in number 1 in the nation, entered now 25-1 overall.
Chris Currirer, actually the runner-up last year. Oh!
And that had to hurt a little bit.
Well,
he had him standing right on the top of his head.
I've seen Lazaro Reinoso do several things like that this weekend. I mean, extremely athletic individual and very powerful as well. But Chris Currirer, again, last year was a national runner-up. He was actually leading in the finals 13-3 and had to default because he broke 2 ribs. So he would like to win that national title that got away from him last year because of an injury.
Well, talk about Lazaro Reinoso, and you mentioned what a great athlete he is. No score here with about 1:30 to play in this first period, but he's just learning the game of golf. As if he's not a good enough wrestler, he's taking up golf, and his first year of golf, and this will make any golfer sick, he's already at 12 handicap.
You know, the amazing thing about that, when he was filling out his profile for the finals, he put that on there, didn't mention one thing about winning the bronze medal in the Olympics in wrestling, but he's very, very proud of that 12 handicap.
I'd be proud of a 12 handicap. I've played golf for several years, and believe me, I'm nowhere near a 12 handicap. I'd be putting that on my business cards, folks. 1 minute to go in the first period. We've got no score between Lazaro Reinoso and Chris Currirer, the 149-pound championship match.
I think you have to get a real job before they give you business cards.
I think so, too, yeah. Yeah, this sportscasting thing is not exactly considered a real job. 45 seconds to go in the first period, and look at Reinoso going to work there. Nice job by Currirer.
Now, the one thing you got to remember, he is a bronze medalist in the Olympics, but that was in freestyle wrestling. And collegiate style wrestling in the United States is rather different than freestyle. Freestyle is a lot more on your feet. The near fall points, all you have to do is expose their back or roll your opponent across his back to get a 2-point near fall. There's really not that much wrestling done down on the mat in freestyle wrestling like you'll see in the collegiate style here.
Jim Ramirez, your official, and he just issued a double stall warning to both wrestlers. So both wrestlers have been warned for stalling. Look at Currirer. We've talked about the quickness of Reinoso, but that was a quick move to get away from that shot by Reinoso, and we are at the end of period number 1, scoreless between Lazaro Reinoso and Chris Currirer. And this one of the few in the brackets that the number 1 and the number 2 are meeting in the finals.
Reinoso placed 6th last year, his first time in collegiate wrestling at all. Like I said, it's a completely different style, but that was at 157 pounds, so he actually dropped a weight class this year. His record this year was 25-1. Under career record, it says unknown. From what I hear, his age is kind of a unknown factor here, too. He says he's 25, but that seems awful young for somebody that got a bronze medal in the '92 Olympics. That would mean he was 18 years old and beat John Smith. That's amazing.
1-1 is the score, as each wrestler has been penalized a point for stalling right now. A double stall penalty assessed. And you don't see that very often, the double stalls taken all the way out to a penalty point.
Well, referee Jim Ramirez from Arkansas City, Kansas, he's not going to waste any time. He's going to make these wrestlers wrestle. He's not going to let them stall.
1 minute 35 to go in the second period. And there's the first point on a non-stall. Chris Currirer able to get the escape, and it's 2-1.
Now that they both had their stall warning, you get one warning. The second one is a point. If either one of these wrestlers would get called again, it's another point, and anyone after that, it would be 2 points. The fifth penalty is disqualification. So, you know, we're still in the early into the match. We're only halfway through. You got to keep that in the back of your mind. These guys can't give up any more of these stalling calls.
And it's been a very, I don't want to say quiet match, because we've seen a couple of terrific moves, but really neither wrestler being terribly aggressive here through the first period and a half. As Reinoso makes me eat my words a bit as he shoots in low, and there's the takedown. 2 points for Reinoso. It's 3-2. Lazaro Reinoso of Carson Newman with a lead.
And he's right now, riding time really not a factor yet. Reinoso building up, just coming up to 40 seconds.
You see the time remaining in the second period of the 149-pound championship match.
You look at the scores that Reinoso won by, and you wouldn't think that he had too easy of a road here, but from what I watched him, he really didn't have too much trouble, with the exception of in the quarterfinals. He got caught on his back for just a split second, kind of brought to the crowd here to their feet, because everybody's following him. He is such a great story.
And a stall against Reinoso. That's another point for Currier, and that evens it up. Riding time is at 1:15 in favor of Reinoso, so that would be a point for him, but it's 3-3 on the scoreboard. We're at the end of the second period.
Well, like I said, there's a good look at Doug Moses. He's the coach from University of Southern Colorado. He's been there for 15 years. He actually started the program at Southern Colorado. He's been the one and only coach there for 15 years. Twice they've been national runners-up at Southern Colorado. Carson Newman, where Lazaro Reinoso is wrestling, he kind of a newcomer to the Division II ranks. The last couple years, though, they've made a big impact. They've had several good wrestlers. Haven't been a real big factor in any of the team races. They are 9th place this year. A lot of those points coming from this wrestler right here.
There's an escape allowed by Currier to Reinoso. It's 4-4. The riding time given up gives another point for Reinoso, and so he's ahead officially 5-3, but Currier's only got to burn 5 seconds off that riding time. Attendance here at the Fieldhouse tonight, 3,800 folks have packed their way in for this one.
I will mention that the fire marshal says the attendance, the building will only hold 3,800. So how ironic that we ended up exactly 3,800.
Boy, that's a real break for the folks at UNO. They didn't have to worry about the capacity. I was just going to say it looks like more, but
I was worried that they were worried they might have to send some people home, but they ended up with exactly 3,800.
What a break. 2-point takedown, and now an escape point for Currier. So it's 6-4. Reinoso with a riding time advantage, and 1 minute to go in the third period. So Reinoso just that close to winning a national championship.
Remember, though, he's been called for stalling. He's had 2 points against him. The next one would be a 2-pointer. So he can't sit back and rest on his laurels here. He's going to have to keep wrestling.
And let's see, we've seen Jim Ramirez has been very quick to call stalling tonight in this match.
We've got 35 seconds to go here in the match.
He's keeping a close eye on these two. 30 seconds left. Currier trailing by 2 with the riding time by 3. And Currier
doing everything he can to try to get a takedown. Again, there's riding time, so even if we did get that 2-point stalling, which we're not going to get it now because Reinoso just made an offensive shot. Uh-oh!
And nearly turned over. Let's see the 2-point takedown. He's almost got him down. They're counting for back points. They got him!
There's the pin! Reinoso, the bronze medalist, gets caught on his back by Chris Currier, the senior from Southern Colorado.
And what an upset at 149. Reinoso had it won with 8 seconds to go in the match. And a fired up head coach for Southern Colorado. He may be more excited than Chris Currier, who has just won a national championship. Watch this again. Reinoso's got it won until right now.
Just a quick front headlock to a whip over. And Currier keeps driving, gets Reinoso on his back. Reinoso tries to bridge out, but Currier stops his first attempt. And I think Reinoso just figured it was over at that point.
Pinned him with 8 seconds left in the third period. And how about that? What an amazing turnaround at 149. Chris Currier came in as the number 2 seed, and he pins Lazaro Reinoso coming from behind with 8 seconds left.